Part of the reason for the title there is, I'm not sure if many of you read The Economist, or have a chance to read The Economist, or whether you have a personal life, but I on occasions do read The Economist. And the good thing about The Economist, of course, or the useful thing from our perspective, is that it brings an international view. It comes from outside Australia. And if you have a chance, it's worthwhile trying to dig out. They did a review of Australia not too long ago in a bit of depth. And it's quite interesting to get an outsider's perspective of Australia, because I think it's very different to how we see Australia at the moment from within. And their perspective, whilst having a crack at political debates, they're having a bit of a go at that, and they also had a bit of a go at Brexit, which I thought was quite interesting. But fundamentally, they saw Australia really as really in a golden phase. A golden part of the world at the moment, a fantastic opportunistic part of the world, and also in terms of the state of history, a fantastic point of time as well. And if you think about Australia, fundamentally the arguments they're putting in a lot of detail, they saw us in a way as the California of the late 70s. Huge opportunity, huge potential. And if you think about us within the Hunter, we're also within a bit of a sweet spot within Australia. We have access to the resources and the opportunities that are coming through there. At the same time, we're not so exposed to it that potentially we're concerned about the pace of growth that we're getting there, and or the downside when that phase eventually fades away. So why is it gloomy? Hence part of that headline. So to wrap up again, why is it gloomy? If you look at it from the outside, things are pretty strong. The reason you're feeling gloomy is because the housing touches the retail side. You're not actually going out spending yourself, and people are putting money aside and all that kind of thing. But when it comes down to it, that's because of a strong story. It's because it's a managed slowdown, and the pressure is being put on those sides not to spend to manage this growth. There are plenty of places in the world that would be dying for that situation. Even within Australia, the Gold Coast, but tourism-focused areas would be dying for that situation. Regional economic growth is pretty robust, but it's definitely slow policy intervention. That's the point. Is we've managed to slow down rather than there's no demand on how we generate it. We slow demand consciously, and therefore that means that we can undo it as well. That's at the national scale, of course, but within the region will reflect that. There's still substantial momentum for resources and resource-related infrastructure, and that will keep on underpinning our regional economy over the next few years for sure. But the higher interest rate context is definitely producing soft, not dire, but soft consumption, and then the flat housing market. And that's effectively what the central bank wanted to achieve, and we're seeing that within the region. But we're not in a desperate situation, but at the same time, that's why the guys in retail, that's why some of the guys in housing are just not, struggling. And that's why it feels gloomy, because it's the largest part of the economy and it touches base with us in our households. And looking forward, the things that are going to vary away from that, resource expenditures going to carry on. The only thing is if we have a major event of the global horizon, that's the only thing that will really impact on that. The same with the global financial crisis did. I'll leave that next speaker to inform us on that one. For the other sectors, it really comes down to the RBS view, which you saw with Westpac recently. Their perspective was that the domestic sector's consumption and household were actually tanking, and they were going too far. And in a way, that relates to that's the whole point of this chart. Basically, you don't only have to have a small stone over on this side, but because it's a large part of the economy, if that gets out of whack, the whole thing gets out of balance very quickly. We have very strong growth over here on the resources side, but they're trying to balance this with weaker growth over here. If it gets too soft when the housing market tank fundamentally, for example, then it would take everything down. That's why I always believe that the interest rate cuts are coming through. I'm not sure everybody's convinced of that, but when it comes down to it, that balance in terms of where the Reserve Bank thinks that how they think the domestic consumption side of things and the housing side of things is balancing off against the resources investment we're getting, that will inform the interest rate position going forward, and that will inform the regional prospects in those sectors. Thank you.